So I created an app called FASTory, and my background is actually in teaching. I'm teaching history and English to students in New York City, Shanghai, and Barcelona, and for the past 10 years. So over these past 10 years, I've noticed like recurring patterns within my students. My initial problem was that there was a lack of interest in history, but after conducting like my 5 whys and some desk research, I came up with the main problem, which is that students do not see the information they are learning as valuable and relevant as they see their grades. So with my desk research, I looked up like a Harvard study which had talked about the addictiveness of social media, since that's the main apps that teenagers use. And they said that the theta state of mind is what we're accessing while we're on social media. And with the theta state of mind, you can then enter, theta state of mind is like meditative. And with this meditative state of mind, it's kind of like watching TV as well. So you can then enter the beta state of mind, which is focus. I looked at Dr. Huberman's studies about focus and memory, and they correlate together. If you're unable to focus, your memory is going to be decreasing. And some factors that cause people to not be able to focus is stress. And many students in school actually have like a lot of shame because of their grades or maybe social things that are going on as well, especially teenagers. So I was looking into this and also connection. Brene Brown talks about shame, but also connection. Like if you're unable to find connection, relatability, it's really hard to find meaning in what you're learning. So with this information, I conducted surveys. I was able to get 33 surveys. I wish I got more, but it was the last week of school, so the students were a bit checked out. I got 6 interviews though, and I focused on students 13 to 18, teenagers mostly. And I did this for students in New York City, Shanghai, and Barcelona to get kind of different areas, not to focus on one area. My 4 main research questions were: how do students perceive themselves? How is relatability and familiarity imperative in presentation? How might shame affect student learning? And what state of mind are they in while using their phones compared to school? So some insights I got. Actually, the first one that was really interesting to me was students are kind of just like us. They feel like they're wasting their time on social media, but it's just addictive. It's just natural to go to that app, like Instagram or TikTok, Snapchat. Those are like the 3 main ones I noticed. Now, students also find joy in learning about things they can relate to. Actually, my initial assumption of the lack of interest in history was not true. I think it's the stress of the class that actually causes them to not be able to focus or interested in it. 65% feel they learn more on social media these days than at school. And they said that this is happening after the pandemic. So the pandemic has kind of changed the mindset of like how students are learning. 80% feel more anxious before an exam and recall 40% after the exam. So they're not really remembering much after the exam. Presentations and visuals are imperative to rendering curiosity. Shame affects interest, like Brene Brown had said. 85% claim they're overwhelmed by school. So the schoolwork and the classes and the stress and everything. 100% felt they want to read more, but they want to read things that they choose. And 80% said they don't have time to read, but they're kind of associating reading with books, not just like reading articles and stuff. So with that, I created 2 personas. I have Jill, who's 15 and eager to learn, does all her assignments, but she has no time to like delve into learning about her personal interest. However, she does find time to quickly skim through Instagram. And then there's Jack. He's 17 years old. He's bored in school because he feels too smart for school, but he wants to read, but he doesn't want to read books. So with that, I came up with some how might we's. How might we make it easy for students to quickly find stories they are interested in? How might we present the stories in a relatable, relevant, and familiar manner? And how might we ensure that the stories don't become oversaturated like most social media platforms? Here's like my mood board and some inspiration that I was looking at. not going to go too far into this. And this was some of my process. So I had been sketching a lot. My crazy eights were quite crazy, but then I came up with some of these wireframes and the structure of what the students do. I actually asked the students to walk me through what they do on Instagram to see the process. And here you can see my wireframes into the user testing. So some things that I had to change was the videos. I had put videos on top because kids had said they really like the video aspect. They like to watch things, but the students told me they don't want to see the videos on top if the whole app is about reading. So I changed the videos to kind of go in the middle, kind of like what YouTube does. They also told me that they don't want to see what the video is going to show. They rather just see the profile. So I changed that as well to just show the user profile, the writer profile. Oh, and also the writers would be like from the app so that not anyone could just write. So that it's actual like writing, conducted writing that's not oversaturated by anyone and is kind of looked at through a program. In addition, I added like tabs at the top. I added tabs that say for me, following, or it'll have the filters that they had chosen for their interest in the beginning. In addition, I had originally thought of it like Pinterest, where you like have to click deeper into the story, but the students seem to not like that. They rather just get right into the story. They don't want to click twice because they felt like they wouldn't read the story if they just saw the summary. And I also made the reading one page. Originally, it was like 3 pages, but I made it into one long page. And lastly, I added the icons at the bottom rather than the top. So these were the main things I had thought about. And here's some of my components and colors and icons and everything and cards. And now I'll show you the prototype. Let's see. I hope it works. Okay. So here's FASTory. You could join in with Google, Instagram, or Apple. So since it's an iPhone, so I'm gonna go ahead with Google. Here you can go ahead and pick your interest. So let's say I'll pick travel, family, sports, and food. I could always add later. You could also find your Instagram network on FASTory. I'm gonna skip this for right now. And here are some recommended people that you could, writers that you could follow. Nora looks cool. She likes basketball and traveling. Naya also looks cool. She seems to be an avid traveler and foodie. So I'm gonna pick these two, continue. And here you can set up notifications if you want the articles or stories to come up. But I'm gonna skip this for the moment because I don't like notifications. Here is the homepage where you can go ahead and find the stories to read. And you'll go through, you could pick the stories based on images since visuals were important. Oh, another thing I had changed was originally it had the likes here rather than a bookmark, but the kids said that they don't want to see how many people like it. They rather pick the story for themselves than base their opinions on other people. You could scroll through some people's videos. You could go to the following page. Maybe I like this article and I'll save it for later, or maybe the taco article I'll save for later. And since I only follow Nora and Naya at the moment, that's all I'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and click on, do I even like the beach? Here you could go ahead and read. I picked the color of like yellow on the background, kind of that kindly color. So it's lighter on the eyes rather than white. You can find more articles like this. You can like it, you can save it. I'm gonna go ahead and save it into travel stories since it's about the beach. Once I save this, if I would like, I could maybe check the comments. Here are some comments, I can maybe share it. Or I could just go ahead and visit the profile of Naya. And here you could see her profile. I still have to fix this page a bit, but yeah, you could see I follow her. Maybe I wasn't interested in her, I can unfollow. Maybe I could save some things for later. And yeah, you could go back to the home page. I still have to finish the rest of the pages, but on the search page, I wanted to focus on like what stories are popular. And at the top, these would be based on your interest. So You could go ahead and pick articles based on your interest, or simply just search a word and find what you would like to look for. And here are your folders to sort out. You even have a read for later folder, and you could add some if you'd like. That's that on my prototype at the moment. And for my next steps, I'd really like to continue working on my UI skills and work on the interactions and micro interactions. I'd also like to work on the user profile, because I would love it if it could, you know, tell kids like their daily streak of reading and be more interactive with them. And I would like to test the app more, because at the moment it was difficult to test the app with the kids in a low fidelity, because I had to explain a lot, because it was hard for them to picture. So I would like to test it even more than just like 2 days ago. And thanks everyone for listening.